Hi, this is Graham Jeacocke. Thanks for clicking on this video. Now this is actually directed to one particular person, James Lauricia. He's actually put up a video on the net and it's in reference to drunk idol Jesus. Okay, but this isn't a response to the content of that video. This is just something I have in relation to the Jewish text. Now, I'm going to read from the Jewish Study Bible. Now, let's go to the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 16, and we'll go from verses 31 to 32. Grey hair is a crown of glory. It is attained by the way of righteousness. Better to be forbearing than mighty, to have self-control than to conquer a city. Right, let's try a different version. We'll go with a Golden Gaze version. Grey hair is a glorious crown. It's found by way of faithfulness. Better to be long-tempered than a strong man, and one ruling over his spirit than one taking a town. Now, we can go further still into different translations. Let's go for the NIV. Grey hair is a crown of splendour. It is attained by a righteous life. Better a patient man than a warrior, a man who controls his temper than one who takes a city. Now, so as I was reading through this text, it comes to me an image of King David. Now, as any Jew knows, or Gentile knows, if you read the Bible, that King David took many towns. And that's why he was popular and he became king. But King David was a warrior. He was led by his spirit. Now, if the Jews are to trust their Proverbs and trust their understanding of what the Messiah is going to be, they say the Messiah is going to be a warrior, uniting us like King David did. But in your own book, it reveals that you do not want a warrior. In fact, it is better to be a patient man. And let's look further. Who was a patient man and who was a Jew? Jesus was a patient man. If you read through he chose the disciples like God chose Abram. Now, if you look at Peter made mistakes all the time, but Jesus was patient. Now, if you look at Judas Iscariot, when who was it? Is it Martha or Mary? It was Lazarus, and the disciples were sitting down next to Jesus, and I think it was Mary came in and poured oil on Jesus' feet and then put perfume on the feet, or it was the oil. And Judas exclaimed, she could have spent that on poor people. But Jesus, again, was patient with Judas and said, she is doing a good deed. because she's preparing Jesus for what would eventually happen, the burial, like people do. They prepare bodies. Now, so I have to ask you, how do you view this Messiah that you are expecting? Do you view him to be a warrior? Even though in your books it warns you, we don't want warriors, because look at the hasty decisions that were made by the kings when they wanted to gain control of a town or a city. They went in by their own spirit. Because when King David was very proud, he decided to count the number of soldiers that the Israel nation had, and God condemned him. He wasn't quick to have the Spirit of God. But again, if you look to Jesus, time and time again, the Spirit of God was with Jesus. He was patient. He never did things hastily. Because let's take when Jesus and the disciples were in the Garden of Gethsemane, the morning, was it early morning or night, when Jesus had finished praying, and Judas was approaching him to betray Jesus. And what did Peter do to one of his servants? He cut off the ear. And Jesus turned round and was patient, yet rebuked what Peter had done. Have I led a rebellion? Do my disciples not know what I have been teaching you? Anyway, I hope I've not lost my train of thought, and if anyone wants to get back, leave a comment below. Anyway, have a nice day. Shalom.